You said that you thought that TTIP, or TAFTA as you prefer to call it, was an agreement that the civil society could support, but at this point it looks increasingly like you won't be able to. I just wondered if you could explain why you feel that way.
So for the first year of this agreement, we've spent an enormous amount of time trying to get the agenda to be the thing that we'd like to support, hoping this would finally be the agreement that would be one we'd be pushing to pass, not trying to derail. And unfortunately, after a year, a lot of basically everything that we promoted is being ignored. The process has stayed as closed and secretive as ever. And so now we're seeing increasingly across the new sectors that are involved, chemical groups, GMO groups, a huge set of groups that have turned to thinking we're going to have to stop this agreement, because instead of being the improvement we hoped and the one we could support, it's looking like more of the same.
What are a couple of the sectors where you see some tests that don't need to be done on both sides of the Atlantic?
Sure. A couple that come to mind are the automotive sector, the pharmaceutical sector. On both sides of the Atlantic, products go through extensive years worth of testing for safety and for other aspects. And we think that there's probably not a need to go through both processes beginning to end on both sides. That delays products going to market, it adds cost, and ultimately both of our regulatory systems are very strong, so we think that there are areas where we could minimize that duplicity.
What are some of the non-tariff barriers you're hoping the TTIP will eliminate?
European farmers are facing over controls, more than 5 controls before the pre-clearance system to export to US. In pesticide plant protection products, EU is allowed to use chlorpyrifos ethyl on oil, on olive oils, but in US it's only allowed for groundnuts, which produce oil also. So we would like to see more cooperation between the two administrations to overcome of this divergence.
The Teamsters are typically concerned that trade deals will undermine labor protections and that sort of thing, but the TTIP is different. Europe has higher standards in many cases, right?
Yeah, that was a point that I made in my presentation just now. I mean, we've been opposed to the expansion of the NAFTA model since, well, for a generation now, since the NAFTA fight. And the TTIP does offer the opportunity for something a little bit different, and that's how we're looking at it, is a little bit differently. So if there is the opportunity for upward harmonization of labor standards and wage rates and labor protections, then we're all for that.